I think Jay Ajayi is going to have, like maybe 300 rushing yards, probably 100 receiving. He might, throw a touchdown.
Oh my God. You are delirious. We need to move off this game immediately.
You're listening to Let's Talk Fantasy Football, where men of fantasy genius have realized, hey guys, we don't need real football skills to dominate on the fantasy field. Yeah. So slap on your pads and grab your helmet. Shit's about to get real.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of Let's Talk Fantasy Football. I am your host, Nick Schreck, and joining me tonight is the one and the only, the DON himself. Don, welcome back. Part 2 of the fantasy preview.
Thanks, man. It's been a while.
It's awesome to be here. We're talking fantasy football every day of the week. It feels like we're on the air 24/7. Unfortunately, we're not, but we're getting closer and closer each day. But Don, first, let's give a shout out to BenchBoss. Everyone here knows them as ViewPick, but they've got a brand new name, but they're still the revolutionary app that allows you to play fantasy football live while watching the game on TV. You can predict the plays, the results of the play, and literally play fantasy football. You can sign up for the beta now by going to letstalkfantasyfootball.com/benchboss. So, Don, let's get right down to business. We're going to go right back into the fantasy preview. We're going to hit a few more reader questions to wrap things up, and then before we know it, week 2 is going to be upon us. But let's not rush it quite yet. Let's kick things off with the Titans and the Jaguars. We know you love jagging off. So let's start on that side of the ball with the Jacksonville Jaguars. What do you expect out of the Jaguars here? We saw Leonard Fournette look good.
Yeah, I mean, you saw Jaguars look good. Besides Blake Bortles. But yeah, I mean, it's very surprising. I mean, it's good to see. Another rookie running back that just has proven that he's the man. And another guy that you need to start every week, and good for you for having the balls to draft him. So he's a man amongst. He does what he needs to do.
Dude, it's incredible. We talked about it last podcast with rookie running backs, and we've overall just been wrong, and how we're going to have to adjust that kind of moving forward. But yeah, Fournette looked good again. Walsh touched on it in the the recap podcast. About can he hold up in this offense, because they're going to continue to feed him the rock. So. Again, that's a long-term concern. We're not worried about that in week 2. But food for thought for those of you that do own Fournette. I know Walsh had thrown out some other names to consider backing him up with if you're a Fournette owner. But on the Jaguars side of the ball, you're not starting Blake Bortles. They obviously lost Allen Robinson to the injury. He's officially on IR, so if you own him, you can drop him unless you're in a dynasty league and you're keeping him or something.
And you can add Allen Hurns.
Yeah, Allen Hurns he's the top dog, in Jacksonville.
Yeah, definitely. He's the guy that you should be looking at. I mean, again, we don't really like Bortles this year right now, but looks like and Allen Hurns was
3 for 42.
Okay, but the year before, not last year, but the year before, he had a good year.
Yeah.
So he's someone that we've owned before, has shown some good flashes. So, 3 for 42, but now that A-Rob is out, I think Allen Hurns is the guy to go to.
I agree. Adam, put him on your bench, see what happens. Nothing but upside, really. We'll see how Bortles plays and kind of moving forward from there. Chris Ivory is the guy, I guess, he had 42 yards on the ground. He went 1 for 11 in the air if you want to put a little insurance behind Leonard Fournette. That appears to be the guy you want.
Are you going to be adding him, though?
I'm not, but
if you're a Leonard Fournette owner, are you going out of your way to handcuff him with that?
Maybe. I don't play.
Remember, Yeldon was out though too.
Yeah, that's true. I don't typically play the handcuff game, but some people do. So if they want to play the handcuff game, I think he's the guy as of now.
Don't play the handcuff game with Leonard Fournette. That's my opinion.
Okay, fair enough. And then as far as I'm concerned, there's literally nothing else that I need to talk about on the Jaguar side of the ball.
Well, dude, Mercedes Lewis is like the ultimate Jaguar.
There's no question about that. He is definitely the ultimate Jaguar, but that's it. He's the ultimate Jaguar.
Probably shouldn't have fumbled in 2010, Dick.
Because you don't hold grudges, right?
Never.
No grudges for Don. Let's talk about the flip side. Tennessee Titans, who I think they're going to be really good this year. They look good here. In week one, obviously, it didn't work out the way they wanted to against the Raiders, but good progress. Things look good. Rashard Matthews, 5 receptions for 71 yards. Corey Davis, 6 for 69. BDD, our boy Decker, only 3 catches for 10 yards. But
he's got big dick.
He does have a big dick. So Big Dick Decker. Delaney Walker, 7 for 76. There's a lot to love about the Tennessee Titans.
There's a lot of weapons, dude. It's crazy.
A lot of offensive pieces for sure.
I just love how Rashard Matthews still continues to pan out, and I love it. But they really like Corey Davis too. Not a gauge on like who you should start just yet or where to go from there. For instance, last week I actually had to play Rashard Matthews because I had both Jarvis Landry and Mike Evans on a bye along with Jay Ajayi, so I was kind of scraping for people. And I also had Willie Snead on my bench. So I was hurting. I'm cool with have Rashard Matthews on your bench. Something happens with an injury or a bye later on, I think he's a good plug and play. They really like Corey Davis. I think his value is actually going to go up. I have him in a few leagues as well. I think if anyone's value kind of hurts more, I think it's more Eric Decker out of the 3. Believe it or not, I think he was the most valued. But I don't know. I think he's one of those guys that caught a lot of touchdowns when he did, kind of always injury-ridden. I think these guys hold their value more than Eric Decker does. But, I mean, Mariota's going to be throwing the ball. A lot of people, if anyone has the value, Marcus Mariota is a start weekly.
I agree on all this. I think Corey Davis's big breakout is coming. He played, what was it? He played 42 snaps compared to 60 for Eric Decker and 52 for Rashard Matthews. So they eased him into it. I think he only continues to get better. Big things to come for Corey Davis. I 100% agree. I do think that I'm a little bit more worried about Marcus Mariota this week, though.
Jaguars, yes.
Yeah, faces Jaguars defense. They pummeled the Texans on the road, obviously, last week. Sorry. I'm tripping on my words. In the face of pressure, Marcus Mariota doesn't play as well. His QB rating is actually just 53.8 against the blitz. And the Jaguars finished top 8 in pass rush in week 1 with 14 pressures. So I think they're going to keep that pressure on Mariota. I think a little bit more of a down game on Mariota. I'll probably look elsewhere depending on what your QB options are. But overall for the season, I expect good things.
Yes, I agree. I actually have Russell Wilson and Mariota, and I think after this week, I'm going to start Mariota, but not this week.
Fair enough. I agree. So I think the running game, I think they hand the ball off a ton more to try and combat a little bit of that rush. DeMarco Murray, you're playing him if you drafted him, and I think that's the end of that. Derrick Henry, interesting to watch, but you're not starting him. And I think that's all of it. Do you have anything else, Titans?
Bucker, I think if he's still on the waivers for you guys, because I don't think he was ranked in the top 10, or maybe he was. I have him in a few leagues. If he is on your waivers, for any chance, I think he's one of the guys that you do spin the wheel on. I think he's a consistent play and someone I would actually own. Again,
I agree.
Delaney Walker still seems to get his share from Mariota, and seems to be a safety net that's pretty consistent.
I agree. Delaney is going to get his done. Let's take the pick'ems. I'm going to take the Tennessee Titans.
Yeah, I really want to jag off, but Tennessee's offense is just so much better. I'm going to go Titans as well.
Sweep it on through. Dom, we're on to the Jets and the Raiders, which we touched on at the very end of the last podcast when we answered a question about Marshawn Lynch. Obviously a great matchup against the Jets. The Raiders look good. We talked about the Titans having a ton of offensive pieces.
They're going to demolish the Jets.
It's going to be a long day for Jets fans. So let's start on the Raiders side of the ball since we're kind of already talking about them. Derek Carr looked good. Marshawn Lynch looks good. Amari Cooper, Michael Crabtree, the whole freaking bunch of them. If you own them, you're starting them. No questions asked.
Starting them. Definitely. Amari Cooper dropping that freaking screen to go into the end zone was lame, but they all get to start.
Yeah, they get the pass. Are you buying into Jared Cook at tight end, 5 for 56 yards?
Yeah, I'm with that, especially against the Jets. I think that's a nice streamable tight end this week.
All right, so there you have it, guys. Look towards Jared Cook if you want to spin the wheel on a tight end. I don't really think there's anything to talk in depth on the Raiders. I think it's all good things. If you own them,
play them. They're playing the fucking Jets.
Yeah,
play their defense too.
Yes, 100%. Definitely a streamable defense here. Let's talk about the other side of the ball, Don, for what little there is to talk about on the other side of the ball. The Jets, running back Matt Forte and Bilal Powell, both 12 touches for Powell, 9 for Forte, pretty much a split. Forte right now, I think all he does is hurt Powell. Powell's value, I think, is in that passing game there. I own a bunch of Bilal Powell actually, so I'm not super pumped right now, but I think he'll be fine ultimately in the long run. Again, if you need to roll Powell, you need to roll him. He's got more upside than Matt Forte.
Powell. What was Powell's stats?
Let me see.
Carried the ball 12 times.
He had 12.
Last
week.
He
had 12 touches. I'm just pulling up his final numbers last week. They were not.
Either way, I don't think I'm playing Powell if I have other options.
I mean, the only nice thing about Powell in PPR, he had 5 receptions for 17 yards.
No, he rushed 7 times for 22 yards, but he did catch 6 targets with only 17 yards. So
yep. So I mean, you ended up with like a 9-point week out of him with PPR because of the reception. So again, you can live with that, and that's where his value is totally going to be in the receiving game. Not ideal start, but if you have to, you can live with it.
I'm not down Powell.
Okay, that's fair. In the passing game, there's nobody I want. No.
Just go to Pick'ems.
All right, pick him down. Who do you got?
Oakland.
No, you broke out there.
Am I not speaking loud enough for you, Shrek?
I couldn't hear you at all, man. It was completely silent. Are you taking the Raiders?
Cool. Ignore me. It's fine. I'll take Oakland.
I'm taking the Raiders as well. Sweep it through. Let's talk about the Miami Dolphins, who you own a bunch of stock in this year, playing against the San Diego Chargers. Oh, boy. He's bolting up, and he owns Jay Ajayi. This might be the ultimate matchup.
Things. I'm so ready for this.
What side are we starting on here? Because this is all you.
Pick what side, because I'm just excited.
Let's start with the Dolphins, because you loved your guy Jay Ajayi. You got him pretty much everywhere. Talk to me about the Dolphins and Jay Ajayi.
Dude, yards this year, man.
Easy.
Without a doubt. A bye after this week. He's going to play 15 weeks straight, no problem. Not worried in the slightest.
I hope for your sake you're right.
I fucking hope so, too. I own too much of him. No, man, I think he's going to be stud. I'm excited to watch this game. I got a lot of Melvin Gordon, Jay Ajayi combos, so this is going to be a good game to watch. I'm excited to see Jay Ajayi. I'm reached on him a little bit, and I think it's going to pay off. I think he could finish in the top 5 RBs of the year. So, Ajayi training. If you have him, play him.
Fair enough. You got him. You're playing him. What are you doing with the receivers for Miami? Because they do have a new QB.
I'm excited for Devontae Parker. I think he's going to end up being their number 1 receiver. I own a lot of Devontae Parker as well. Fuck Jay Cutler, but I think Jay Cutler is going to throw Devontae Parker the ball a lot, and I think he's going to be really good value. So if you got him, I think you probably got him at pretty good value, and I think he's going to pay off, and I think he's going to be a starter every week. But we'll see how it starts against the Chargers.
There we go. Their first week of the season. Let's talk about the Chargers on the other side of the ball, Don. Keenan Allen.
We got to talk about Jarvis Landry a little bit too, though.
All right, go for
it. Jarvis Landry, I think, is going to be a receiver too, but I think he's someone right now that you're rolling out no matter what as well. So
he's always been that target machine. He's a PPR monster. Standard league, he's a little bit more hit and miss because he's always been the receptions. Again, we'll see what happens with Smoke and Jay at the helm, but there's no reason to believe that those targets aren't going to be there for him.
Definitely.
On the flip side, Don, with Bolton up, we've got Keenan Allen.
Boy.
He's healthy. He comes through the game, 1 touchdown, 35 yards on 5 receptions. I don't have the total in front of me. I think he had like 10 targets, something like that.
He did. He had a lot of targets. Some were missed, and some were just
But
not
good.
good.
Good to see him healthy. Good to see him out there. If you own him, you're starting him.
I'm not worried about Keenan Allen. I think, like I said, I think Keenan Allen, if he's healthy, I mean, he can get the most receptions again this year. So he's pretty nasty. So he's a definite start. I'm trying to see Travis Benjamin. Actually, Travis Benjamin pulled down 1 TD, correct?
Yep, 3 for 43.
Someone that maybe. I mean, I thought Travis Benjamin was going to have a year last year because Keenan Allen being hurt, but I think Travis Benjamin might be someone to have on your bench because he has Keenan Allen. That opens him up to go downfield and let Phillip Rivers sling that pig to him.
100%. The other pass catchers on the team down at tight end, Antonio Gates, Hunter Henry. I don't want either of them. I think there are other options I'd rather spin the wheel on.
Yeah, nothing happened with Hunter Henry. I was a little disappointed with that. I agree. I think we're going to be dropping Hunter Henry in the one league that I have him as a backup tight end. And if I need to stream a tight end for one bye week, that's what I will do.
Yep.
But Tyrell Williams, again, is someone that has to be owned too. He's not someone that you're playing right away, but he still got his 7 targets.
Yep. 5 for 54. They look good.
Yeah, I mean, and then you got to be excited for once Mike Williams comes in too. I think our Chargers are going to have a very high octane offense. Rivers is ready to sling that pig. They just can't keep blowing fourth quarters.
Yep, and I agree. I agree everywhere. It's the Chargers. I mean, I love when they blow leads against the Chiefs, but otherwise, from a fantasy perspective, they just got to hold on to kind of close things out. But the Chargers look good.
Yeah, and I mean, Melvin Gordon is in at all times. So
yep, no question.
He will get his, and Phillip Rivers is for the most part a startable QB. All time. He threw 3 TDs again. If he just had a little bit better passing yards, it's some good stats right there.
Even you take back his interception, and he's got 19 points. So it's just a little things on Phillip Rivers, and he'll hopefully get it squared away.
Yeah, bolt the fuck up, man.
Don, are you bolting up here and pick him?
Yeah, I'm bolting up.
I'm going to go with the Chargers as well. So
but I think Jay Ajayi is going to have, maybe 300 rushing yards, probably 100 receiving. He might, throw a touchdown.
Oh, my God. You are delirious. We need to move off this game immediately. Don, Cowboys versus the Broncos.
To Devontae Parker. I'm sorry.
Obviously, the big news with the Cowboys, Zeke gets the restraining order. His suspension is stayed. He is playing, and obviously, for those of you that took that risk, it appears to have paid off. Again, one that I was not comfortable with. But, again, I'm wrong. Oh, well. If you got him, good for you. He's Zeke. If you own him, you're playing him. That's not even a question. So,
yeah, I bet if you guys, whoever got Zeke, is back no harder than they ever have. And congrats.
Congrats is right. 2 guys I'm worried about, though, in this game down for the Cowboys. I'm worried about Dak Prescott, and in turn, I'm worried about Dez Bryant. The Broncos looked good. They allowed 192 passing yards to Rivers and the Chargers on Monday night. In 8 career road games, Dak Prescott averages just 211 passing yards. So, in turn, I think that impacts Dez. He saw the targets there last week, but he couldn't haul them in. The Broncos secondary isn't going to be much easier than what he faced against the Giants. Dez Bryant, for whatever the stat is worth, has only scored 13% of his career touchdowns in the month of September. So that's a little bit of a super out in left field stat. But if you own Dez, I'm sure you're starting him. But just, I don't know. I'm off Dak and Dez here as we go into week 2.
I'm worried about Dez too. Dez didn't have that great of a fantasy year last year either. So now he's going he didn't do anything against the Giants. I mean, Janoris Jenkins always does a really good job against Dez. That's what it is. So he played one of the best corners. Janoris Jenkins has his number. It is what it is. But now he's going against Denver. I'm not too thrilled with Dez. You got to roll him out. He's probably your number 1 or 2 receiver, but keep your expectations very tempered. I'm probably not playing Prescott either this week. I think the only ones that are going to be scoring touchdowns, it's going to be a lot of Zeke. If they get to the red zone, or I think actually Jason Witten might get that TD again. So other than that, that's all I think that's really scoring against Denver.
I agree. I'm off the other wide receivers here. I think it's just a down week for the Cowboys as a whole in that passing game.
Cool catch though, Cole Beasley. Cool catch.
Yeah, 100%. Very cool catch. Definitely will give you that. I give credit where credit is due. But that's all I got on Dallas' side of the ball. You ready for Denver?
I'm going to pick Denver. We didn't even go over Denver.
No, I mean like you're ready to talk Denver.
Am I ready? Yeah. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm jumping the gun, man.
That's all right, man. You tip in your hand. No big deal for you bettors out there. Bet big on Denver, according to Don. I think you own Demaryius Thomas. You're starting him 5 for 67. Sanders,
right?
What'd you say?
You feel a little bit better after watching that Simeon did some cool things.
Yep, definitely feel a little bit better about my DT stock, which I actually own a little bit more of him than I expected. But again, PPR, it's an 11-point, almost a 12-point game. Benny Fowler gets the 2 touchdowns. You're
sucks.
not. Yeah, it is what it is, but you're not counting on that. So
I think that's dude. Don't go jumping all over him. Oh my God! And now Jay Ajayi is both. I'll see why we're talking. Continue. I'm sorry. It's Jay Ajayi, man, and I'm worried that now he's not going to be able to throw a touchdown.
Don's having a heart attack over Jay Ajayi. So Demaryius Thomas, you're rolling him out there. Benny Fowler, you're not buying this at all. The running backs, C.J. Anderson. He was on the ground, 81 yards, 1 reception for 7 yards. He's the guy. Jamal Charles gets on the field. He goes for 40 yards on the ground.
Unfortunately, that fumble hurts him.
Yes, it does. But C.J. Anderson looked good. I thought he looked good running the ball.
Yeah. Long or what's the word I'm looking for? It's quite a stretch, but I actually – because I own a little bit of Jamal Charles, which I didn't think I was going to own any of. And then when I got on my drafts, I'm like, you know what? I kind of want the upside of Jamal Charles. God forbid, C.J. Anderson goes down or maybe has some hot flashes and does some good stuff for PPR value. Even with that fumble, though, I think we've seen some good flashes with Jamal Charles, and I'm kind of cool if you did pick him up to not dropping him right away.
Fair enough. If you want to hold on to him, that's fine. Like you said, without the fumble, it's a 6-point week for him and an 8.8 week for C.J. Anderson. So, they're pretty close. I think this week, if you own C.J. Anderson, you're starting him. And I think that's it. I'm not playing the tight end game here in Denver. All right, Don, pick them. You taking the Broncos?
No, dude. I'm taking the Broncos.
He's taking the Broncos. I'm taking the Broncos as well. And with that sweep, guys, we're going to go into our breaks. You can hear from BenchBoss.
This year, dominate your friends with free play-by-play fantasy football from BenchBoss. BenchBoss is the first play-by-play fantasy football game where you must think like the players and coaches on the field as you predict the outcome of every play. Earn rewards as you compete against friends and fans across the country. BenchBoss is currently recruiting beta testers, and we need you. Visit benchboss.tv to learn more and sign up today.
All right, guys, we are back. That was BenchBoss. Check them out at letstalkfantasyfootball.com/BenchBoss. And Don, it's time for the 49ers and the Seahawks. Obviously, the Seahawks played the Green Bay Packers last week, so you're feeling good.
I am.
So let's start on the Seahawks side of the ball. I'm honestly nervous about the Seahawks in general.
Seattle?
Yes.
I kind of hope that my nervousness is wrong. I just want to hope that Packers are just that good. A lot to worry about running back wise, obviously. You were saying on our last cast that your boy Pete Carroll is saying how he's excited to get that rookie in, Chris Anderson, right? Before I mess it up. Yep, Chris Anderson. Oh, Chris Carson. I'm an idiot.
Yeah,
Chris Carson.
Yeah.
Which we saw a little bit. Actually, we saw him play last week, so which I don't think anyone was expecting. We were all in between the whole Thomas Rawls. Obviously, he was hurt, so or not that healthy. So it was Eddie Lacy and then a CJ Procise. But now we're seeing this guy Carson coming in, and now apparently Pete Carroll's all excited about it. I don't know what anyone does in this sense. I only own one share of Thomas Rawls, and I don't really care either way. But I don't know what to do. Anyone, I would really shy away from all those guys.
Yes.
I don't know what's going to happen.
Nope, I agree. Throw it to the wind. You shouldn't be putting any of these guys in your weekly lineup if you want to take some DFS darts and throw them, cool. And it sucks because they have a good matchup. The Seattle's favored by 2 touchdowns in this game, so you got to think in the second half they're going to run the shit out of the ball. You assume. We just don't know who it's going to be. So if you want to take a DFS dart on people, great. In regular leagues and lineups, you shouldn't have any Seattle backs in there. There's too many question marks, especially right now. Russell Wilson, if you own him, you probably don't have another option, so you're starting him. Again, good matchup. They're bad against the run. Maybe he gets you some rushing yards. But that offensive line is shaky. We got to see if he can bounce back. I like him moving forward, Jimmy Graham, but I think he has a down week here. Again, I think they're going to run the hell out of the ball. And historically, Graham averages just 48 yards a game in 8 games against the 49ers. 12 yards below his career average. So, I think he'll be fine, but he's not going to give you, I don't think, the upside he typically would.
I think this is a bounce-back week for the passing game for Seattle. It's a little worrisome about their line. Because, they made Packers defense look good. And, again, I hope that's just because some of the Packers are just that good this year. But a little skeptical. So, I don't know. But I think they will turn around a little bit against, a not-so-good 49ers team. I think Russell Wilson, this is the game where he builds his confidence back and gets a good game. I think Graham is a play, even with those stats. And I think Doug Baldwin should have a good game as well. And Tyler Lockett could be a streamer as well.
Fair enough. Yeah, I agree that they're all plays. Just something to watch. I hope they get back on track, because if they can't do it against San Francisco, we've got bigger problems that we're going to have to talk about next week.
Definitely.
Right now, let's talk about the other side of the ball. Talk about the San Francisco 49ers. Pierre Garçon leads the way, 6 receptions for 81 yards, that's a 14-point PPR week.
Yeah,
that's
I
awesome.
like that.
It's awesome. I'm on board with that every day of the week. If you have him, roll him out there. I'm not getting on board with the tight end game here, but George Kittle goes for 5 receptions and 27 yards. You could do worse at tight end, but I wouldn't touch them here.
No, I think the only person you're touching in the passing game is Garçon. You got to remember, Seattle's defense is still very good. Their cornerbacks are good. They still played tough against Aaron Rodgers and the Packers in the passing game. So Brian Hoyer is going to have a much harder time.
Agreed.
The only one you could play is Garçon.
And if you own Carlos Hyde, you're probably playing Carlos Hyde, and Definitely. I think that's it. There's nothing else.
That is your only players for San Francisco.
All right, let's do a pick 'em. I'm taking Seattle back on track.
Yep, same.
All right, sweep it on through. We are talking Redskins versus the St. Louis Rams. The Rams come out and look really good. After I bashed them, I was willing to skip over the entire St. Louis.
Vinny did not bash Goff. He was a Gosh supporter, a Goff supporter.
He was, and you guys can go back to the Rams preview. It's pretty remarkable. I was willing to skip him and not even give him a shout out. So
look at him; he has a great week.
Shame on me. Again, I think it's Sammy Watkins even 5 for 58. Cooper Kupp 4 for 76 and a touchdown.
Yeah, Cooper Kupp looked good too.
So he looks great. I think you got if you get him, if he's on the wire, get him. He should be on your bench. I'm not telling you to roll him out here against Seattle, but own him. I don't know that I'm rolling any of the receivers necessarily against Seattle.
Skins.
My bad. Why am I saying Seattle? Because we were just talking about Seattle. That's embarrassing. All right, let me backtrack then. Connor Kupp.
They're going against the Skins. Cooper Kupp, man. Connor Kupp, that's his twin brother.
Man, I'm having a
it's been a long night, guys. It's been a long one. So against the Skins, though, I think Cooper Kupp. I don't know if you're rolling him out. I think you want to give him another week. Definitely one of your higher waiver wire targets that you should definitely go out. It was encouraging to see with Sammy Watkins. Obviously, not a breakout game, but you didn't know what was going to happen, especially because I think a lot of people other than us were down on Jared Goff, unless you were Vinny. So it was encouraging to see that. If he could stay healthy, I think Sammy Watkins should have an admirable season. As long as he stays healthy, I think he's not a waiver wire. He is a flex play as well this week where you could play him. So that's cool, man. I don't think Jared Goff is going to do what he did last week.
No.
or do that for the rest of the season. But that's cool. I think your starters are Todd Gurley, obviously, which was a very encouraging game to have back, which I'm cool about. I did end up grabbing Gurley in one of my leagues, and I think Sammy Watkins is a play. Robert Woods, you're not playing, and Cooper Kupp, you're keeping an eye out for.
Yep, I completely agree. I do want to say, though, on Todd Gurley, I'm still super out on Todd Gurley, and I think if you're a Todd Gurley owner, you should look to sell him now. I know you disagree. I'm saying that I'm looking to sell Todd Gurley. Over his last 16 games, he's totaled 890 yards on 282 carries. That's 3.16 yards per carry. If that was a full 16-game season, it will be the third worst all-time in yards per carry average. He saw 19 carries for 40 yards on Sunday in a game that they dominated.
But he played well, again, but he had 5 catches for 56 yards.
I know, in the passing game. But again, I think week one, it was the perfect storm of the way things fell. I am trying to sell on Todd Gurley. I don't buy it. It's great for the Rams. I don't buy it at all. I'm still out on Todd Gurley.
So I think Shrek's on the fence about Todd Gurley. I think we'll swing him back to being on. Did you not see his Gatorade commercial, man?
You're right. I haven't watched enough that. If maybe you send me the link over, I'll watch it a few more times, and maybe then I'll adjust my opinion on Todd Gurley. Let's talk about the Washington Redskins. Terrell Pryor, 6 receptions for 66 yards.
Yeah, but how many targets did that dude get? He had so many targets, man. Terrell Pryor is a must start.
100%. You own him, he's in your lineup.
Once him and Kirk really start to get on the same chemistry there, it's pretty crazy. I mean, and they're really not on the same wavelengths right now. Yep. And Kirk was still forcing the ball to Terrell Pryor. Like, he was clear-cut number one target at all times. I think he really hurts Crowder a lot.
I agree, 100%. I think Pryor's the only wide receiver that I'm starting with confidence.
Yes.
With confidence, yeah. And then, I mean, out of the running game, is Chris Thompson the guy you want?
Dude, Chris Thompson looked good, man. I think if you have Samaje P. Ryan or however we say it, drop him.
Yep, I agree. Because I think Rob Kelly is probably the number 2 there. I think Chris Thompson's the running back you want. 4 for 52 in the air with a touchdown, only 4 yards on the ground, but Rob Kelly didn't look impressive at all. So that's that's that. And then Jordan Reed was 5 for 36.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, Jordan Reed, I think still you're playing him. Yeah. So you're hoping for a bounce back performance from Kirk. I've never been a Kirk owner, but I did have to grab him in one league, and I'm pissed on how he performed. But Kirk should have a good year. He almost had 5,000 yards passing last year. Again, it's another contract year. Kirk needs to play well, so he should have a bounce back week against the Rams.
I agree. He'll be okay. Don, you ready for Pick'em?
Yeah.
Who are you taking?
I'm going with the upset. I'm going Rams.
Boom. All right. I'm going to go with the Redskins.
Go.
Shocker. All right. Let's talk Sunday Night Football.
Rodgers!
There it is. The Green Bay Packers, the Atlanta Falcons. Don, take it away.
Play all the Packers and pick Packers.
That's it. We don't need any further analysis. It's done. Don, Randall Cobb. Tell me about Randall Cobb, because I think
Randall Cobb, I think this is what a lot of fantasy owners needed to see from Randall Cobb.
So is he the real deal?
Yes, I think that's not fluke. I unfortunately think that Devontae Adams is going to take a little bit more of a back seat, because not really Randall Cobb, because Randall Cobb plays that slot position in the short dump passing. But I think that Rodgers and Jordy are back, baby. Jordy was that safety net all game on those deep passes when they needed to get it in. Randall Cobb really broke it up for them to help their offense really move the links. So if you have Randall Cobb, another good, I would say low-end wide receiver 2 right now if you're in a PPR league, because he was getting a lot of targets and having those small receptions. So Randall Cobb's the real deal. I think he's someone that you should feel good that you end up grabbing him at a much later round that you're normally getting Randall Cobb at.
Yep.
Jordy Nelson is going to be a top 5 receiver this year as long as he stays healthy. And Devontae Adams, man, I think he's still going to be a top 20 to top 25. I think he takes a little bit more of a back seat, but they're all starting. Got to feel good about Ty Montgomery. He looked really good.
Yeah. I got to say, Ty Montgomery, I think, is a guy that people that own him are obviously playing him, but in DFS, I think you have to love him this week against the Atlanta Falcons, who are just terrible against the run, against running backs in general, pass catching and all. So I think he could be a nightmare matchup, and I think he'll be owned a lot in DFS.
Definitely. And then Martellus Bennett, I still think is a start too. He only caught three passes for 43 yards, but he did get 6 targets. Rodgers still likes to target his tight ends in the red zone too. So I think that Martellus Bennett, you're still rolling out there. So I think you're playing pretty much everyone on the Packers side. This is going to be a shootout, and Packers are going to come hard with vengeance. Their defense looked a little bit tighter this first game here, so I think Packers are going to have a good game, and they're coming to take back what they lost last year.
Fair enough, man. The only one I don't agree with you on is Bennett, but I was never really big on him going in. So I agree with the rest of the way. Tight end, do as you please.
Grow up, bro.
I'll work on that. Peter Pan, Count Chocula. All right, Don, flip side of the ball, let's talk about the Falcons. In general, I'm worried about them, I think, this week with their matchup. I'm worried about Devontae Freeman, just in general with the way he looked. Kevin Coleman, if you own him, you're playing him. So, the stats are kind of irrelevant. But Freeman averages about 2.5 yards per carry against the Packers and 2.7 yards per carry against the entire NFC North during his career. Right. The Falcons' rushing attack looked anemic against the Bears in Week 1, and the Packers looked good against the Seahawks backfield. So I think that's bad news. Freeman was also out-targeted by Tevin Coleman in the first game. So, again, you own him, you're playing him. I think there's a little bit of concern on Freeman, though. We got to watch that, I think, moving forward. In the running game. And then I think at tight end, concerning, again, Austin Hooper. Austin Hooper goes out there. He posted the massive stat line, obviously, the 88-yard touchdown reception. But he saw just 6.9% of the Falcons' targets. Big plays obviously aren't sustainable. So, I know, we were fans of him here. Well, some of us were fans of him here going into the season. It worked out Week 1. I don't know if I roll a dice there on Week 2 here, but
I'm still rolling Austin Hooper out. I think he could be. That 6.9% is a little scary, but I think he's a safety net for Matt Ryan. It kind of reminded me of Jason Witten, where he just was open out of nowhere, and he's not that impressive fast or anything either. So I think Austin Hooper is still a play. I think that I'm still skeptical a little bit on Packers defense, even though they look good against the Seahawks. I just don't know how really good Seahawks are this year just yet after that. So I'm still playing Julio Jones. I'm playing Hooper, and I'm cool with you playing Sanu.
Yeah, Sanu 6 for 47 last week. Again,
8 targets.
Yep, and I think Julio Jones was just, like I said, stifled about the Bears. We talked about them on the first part of the preview podcast. I just think they've looked good. They've done well against wide receiver ones. I think Julio Jones bounces back here.
Definitely.
Against the Packers.
Definitely.
Don, let's pick them. Who are you going
with? I'm going to go with Atlanta, not going Green Bay Packers, baby. Make us 2-0 on our trip to a Super Bowl.
All right, let's not get carried away, but I'm going to go with Green Bay as well. Let's move to the Monday night game, Don. The Giants and the Lions. Man, oh man. Let's start on the Giants side, because I say man, oh man, because of Odell Beckham. He obviously didn't play Week 1. Yeah. Now he is the Monday night game, and he is still going to be questionable. They're saying they're more optimistic he's going to go. If you own Odell, you need to get either another Giant or someone on the Lions that you can have on your bench and swap him out if he's not going to go. Again, we don't know enough right now whether he will or won't. So obviously he missed last week, but you're going into a game where you'd hate to have to wait on Odell and then he doesn't go and then you're screwed.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, if you got to move your roster around a little bit, I don't think you can just bench him on Sunday for somebody else, because it sounds optimistic that he may play. And if he plays, he needs to be in your lineup, I think.
Absolutely. Because no one else did anything. Brandon Marshall was a big disappointment.
Put Brandon Marshall on the bench, and I think he needs to either earn his way back into your starting lineup, or you can cut him depending on what we see over the next few weeks. Because he was terrible. He looks old, which is fine, but
it was not good. Sterling Shepard is your second receiver once Odell is in there.
Yes,
it was not good. It was very disappointing. I was actually excited to see how Brandon Marshall would do. I ended up grabbing him in my one league. With not high expectations, but with Odell being out, I'm like, all right, it's going to be a good test for Brandon Marshall to, be that one wide receiver one again. And that was a mistake.
Yeah. The only other guy really here that intrigues me right now, I mean, again, Sterling Shepard, 7 receptions for 44 yards. It's still an 11-point fantasy day in PPR. Evan Ingram, I think, is interesting at the tight end spot if you want to spin the wheel. I'm interested to see how he plays into that offense with Odell back. In there, drawing defenses, him come across the middle, things like that. But I don't know that I'd roll him out there this week.
I'm not rolling him out. That offense is not good right now, and their offensive line is horrific.
Oh, 100%. There's no running game, but
it's bad.
So minus Odell.
I'm saying Odell and maybe Sterling Shepard, and that's it.
That's it. I agree. Let's go flip side down. Let's talk about the Detroit Lions. My man Kenny Galladay.
Yeah, man,
he looks. Happen.
I mean, now I think it was only 4 targets, right?
Yeah, he didn't have.
So he's not getting high targets, but he's I think a high risk, high reward.
No, he had 4 receptions. He had 4 receptions for 69 yards and 2 TDs.
Do we know how many?
I don't. My number doesn't show the targets. I want to say maybe it was.
I don't think it was
7 times.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, so 7 times.
I think he's still the third receiver.
Yep.
Marvin Jones and Golden Tate's there, but again, man, Stafford just got paid. He's going to be slinging the ball quite a bit, and they are fourth quarter warriors, man.
Yes, they are. So again, if he happens to be on your wire, he's gone by now, I'm sure. But if he's not for some reason,
he gone after this week.
Grab him, put him on your bench. He's a good option. For me, he's going to be my Odell buffer. Because I like my other wide receivers. If Odell doesn't go, Galladay goes in. If Odell goes, Odell plays. But Galladay, Tate looked great too. 10 receptions for 107 yards.
Marvin Jones had a decent game too.
The touchdown helped him, 2 for 37. And he wasn't bad, but he only holding 2.
Yep.
But Ebron's a concern for me. I expected big things from Ebron. Only 2 for 9.
I'm not on the Ebron train.
See, I liked Ebron a lot, but I'm watching, and I think Galladay is going to develop into that red zone threat that I expected Ebron to be. So again, we'll see. I may end my Ebron experiment looking forward if it continues.
Yeah, man. Stafford's a must play. These 3 receivers must be owned.
Yep, 100%.
I'm not down with Ebron, or would I be playing him? But that's just me. I'm not an Ebron fan, so I'm looking elsewhere.
Fair enough. Running backs Theo Riddick, Amir Abdullah. Are you on either of those?
I think Amir Abdullah is going to have a hard time against a pretty good Giants defense. I actually like Theo Riddick in PPR leagues. So somehow Theo Riddick, whenever he's playing and you're in a PPR league, he's getting you he's always a really good flex play. So if I'm in PPR, I like Theo Riddick more than Amir Abdullah right now.
Fair enough. I'm on board. He makes it happen. That's all I've got on the Monday night game, Don. Is there anything else you want to add?
I picked Detroit.
I picked Detroit as well. We're going to sweep that through. Lions for us both. And that's going to do it, guys, for the Week 2 preview here with me and the DON himself. We're going to hit 3 reader questions that we picked out of a bunch to kind of give you some insight. We think it encompasses a lot of the questions we've gotten as a whole. First one here comes from Wisconsin. That was on Instagram, I believe. He said, standard scoring, wide receiver 2 advice. He's already starting A.J. Green. He needs one of these guys, Keenan Allen, Kelvin Benjamin, Alshon Jeffrey, or Galladay.
Keenan Allen.
I agree. It's Keenan Allen 100%. Good problem to have, though. You have some options. But
yeah,
Keenan
that's some good receivers. Too bad it's not a PPR league because those are nice.
Yeah, Keenan Allen's your guy there. Question number 2. Charles Clay. I don't know.
Standard scoring.
Yeah, standard scoring. I don't know if he's adding or starting, but Charles Clay or Jesse James this week. I think it's Jesse James.
Jesse James. I agree.
Cool. And then third question. Start one of these three: Buck Allen, Kerwin Williams, or Joe Mixon.
Kerwin Williams is the clear-cut starter. So Kerwin Williams.
I agree. Kerwin Williams, I think, is number one. And then Joe Mixon, we'll see what happens with him moving forward. Same thing with Buck Allen. We don't really know. I think Kerwin Williams is a clear-cut answer. And those have to be your guys. Don, do you have any closing thoughts for the listeners as we head into week 2?
Packers are going to Super Bowl, man.
There you go. There you have it, guys. Jay Ajayi, he's going to be a monster.
Oh, all-purpose, at least 1,800 yards, bro.
At least
he's going to throw, if he's healthy, he's throwing a touchdown to Devontae Parker.
You heard it here first, guys. We are calling Jay Ajayi's passing touchdown to Devontae Parker in week 2. But if you're not interested in that, guys, you can find us on iTunes, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Google Play, and more, where you guys listen to your podcast. We are there. We're also on YouTube if you like video and that's your thing. You can get the LTFF apps on Apple and Android. Just go to the app stores and search Let's Talk Fantasy Football. It's a free download. Guys, if you prefer to use your voice, we're also on Amazon Alexa and Echoes. You can install NFL News and so much more from the Let's Talk Fantasy Football team. So take a look, see what you prefer, and we are pumped up for week 2. We're going to try and reverse some bad juju that kicked us off here in week 1 with injuries and letdowns from those top picks.
And Sean Payton bullshit.
The Sean Payton bullshit that Don's still upset about. And we're going to get to see Don's boy Jay Ajayi for the first time this season. We're going to see if that passing touchdown comes to fruition. But, guys, for Don Chrisman, I am Nick Schreck. We'll catch you on the flip side.
This has been Let's Talk Fantasy Football. Thanks for listening.